How's it going, my squids? Today we're going to be talking to you guys about how to make some coin in Sea of Thieves. It's going to be fairly easy. I mean, there's not really much to talk about in terms of just what to do. I'm just going to more or less go over all the methods and what's faster, what's the most efficient, etc. So the absolute first method that I want to talk about is kind of like weird and probably not something maybe anybody's thought about, but if you just join random games, some people just have open crews that are already doing voyages, and they may have a galleon full of treasure chests. I'm not saying that that's going to happen all the time. I'm just saying that over the past couple days, I've joined random crews, and I've gotten just a shit ton of money just from doing literally nothing. I just joined and they did the gold fortress or something, and I just made like 10k from joining a game. You know what I mean? Like, it's a possibility. It's not a guaranteed thing. You obviously can't do this as a legitimate money-making source, but I'm just saying, if you happen to do it, this is one weird method to making money. It's not practical. Definitely not something you should do all the time, meaning leaving games and joining games. That's not practical. Don't do that. The only reason I'm even mentioning this is because it's happened to me a few times out of the past week, so I thought I would just mention it and say, hey, well, this might be something to give a shot at, but yeah, it is what it is. Alright, in terms of money making from factions, we've got, you know, the Soul Stealers or Soul Hoarders, I don't know what the hell they're called, Gold Hoarders, Merchants Alliance, whatever. Which of these three are the most efficient and quickest way to make money? The Soul people, the least effective in my personal opinion. I don't think that they're, you know, for what you have to do, the payout is almost, probably not really that much worth in my personal opinion. I just don't really like it. It's maybe a preference thing, but that's just me. Gold Hoarders, I would say, are the second best. They get paid the most for the amount of work that you do, in my personal opinion, but the Merchant Alliance, they pay you a decent amount while the missions are also fairly easy and super fast to do. Normally you got to pick up some chickens and like snakes and pigs or whatever, and sometimes like when you get higher up in the levels and whatnot, you'll have to go collect gold and stuff, so you'll end up getting paid way more money in the long run, and it's a lot quicker and less like let's just say, what is it, tedious. It's less tedious, but you know, Gold Hoarders, in my personal opinion, they probably pay you more for the work that you do. So if you're a fan of just, you know, solving riddles and whatnot, and you don't mind the extra work for the bigger payout, I'm not saying Gold Hoarders is not an optimal choice. I'm saying that Merchants Alliance is faster and a bit more efficient in terms of if you want quick real money fast. I'd say the pay difference really isn't that much. We're talking maybe hundreds of coin difference, right? We're not really talking like Merchant Alliance, 5,000, Gold Hoarders, 20,000. We're not talking that kind of difference. We're talking like, you know, pennies at this point. The only difference in that is that if you go with Merchant Alliance, you're going to be grabbing more pennies faster than you will with Gold Hoarders. So that's just, take that as you will. Alright, now that we talked about all that stuff, let's talk about some quick tips real quick for making some money on the side. So, first quick tip is always check the salvage, like the salvage, like the boats. Like, always quick to like check the sunken boats. Like, quickly check that shit, because they always have something good in it. All the time, literally all the time. Unless it's already been raided, they're gonna have a crate of tea, spices, captain's chest, seafarer's chest, and there's always a couple of these things, right? There's always at least 1 or 2 items in there at least. Sometimes there's 3 or 4. That's the beauty of having to check. These are a great way to make extra money while doing voyages, because you grab up your chest, you grab up your Merchant Alliance stuff, you grab up a bunch of things, right? And then you just, you know, you find a shipwreck and you're like, oh, hey, let's check it out. And then you walk away with an extra $1,000 or something because you checked it there. You never know what's in there. Shipwrecks are always a great way to get passive money on the side. No matter what, always check them. Next thing, if you see a crate or some kind of basket or whatever on an island, just grab it. Don't be annoying. Just grab it, because all you gotta do is collect a snake or a chicken or a pig or whatever, and basically that's an extra a couple bucks you can make just passively. Whenever you're on an island and you see just any kind of like crate that you can put an animal into, just always pick it up, because like I said, it's passive money and you don't really have to work for it. Yeah, you don't have a quest for it, but you'll get an extra 200 to 300 coin depending on exactly what you pick up. And the last quick tip that I have is when you like grab messages in a bottle, because I would imagine that you're smart enough to grab messages in a bottle, because some of those are like the best chest or just money making guides out there, really, or guides, money making possibility out there realistically. So whenever you pick up a message in a bottle, there's a chance for it to be like a Merchant Alliance thing for a gunpowder barrel, right? That's worth almost 1,000 right there, sometimes give or take. But for the most part, whenever you come across a gunpowder keg, I wouldn't say collect like 4 or 5 of them. I'd say just collect one because the chances of you getting it are slimmer than usual, so I wouldn't say they're very often, but I would just at least always carry one on board because one, if you have a ship run up on you, well, if they're chasing you down, you've got a way to maybe, you know, get them off your tail. Two, if you happen to get a message in the bottle and it's like, hey, bring a gunpowder barrel to Golden Sands Outpost or something, that's an easy $1,000 right there. So you never know when a gunpowder barrel will come in handy, so you should always have one on deck, whether it be for defense purposes or money making purposes. So you may want to have two just in case for both of those reasons if you want to cover all grounds, but never overlook it. It's something that can be worth money. Don't get it twisted. It's really worth money. One thing that I do want to mention for the gold hoarders, if you guys want a bit more of an efficient payout, there is a bunch of YouTube riddle guides and YouTube just spots and whatnot for each of the treasure chests. You can easily pick up the speed in terms of treasure chest hunting if you go on YouTube and search up that stuff. It's really easy to find a lot of this stuff, and you can definitely speed up the gold hoarders chest a lot quicker if you really want to get that, you know, dirty money from gold hoarders. And the last thing I want to talk about is what ship should you be using? Some of you guys are like, what the hell does that have to do with gold making? A lot. This is going to be kind of a somewhat of a defense mechanism in terms of just getting robbed, right? If you're in a sloop, right, the reason you go a sloop is because one, you don't want to deal with the crew, or you're playing with a friend or whatever, and you don't want to deal with two other people or one other person or two other people, whatever, three other people, depending on galleon or brigantine, whatever. So you pick sloop because it's got easy usability, you know, it's easy to navigate, you know, just manage, whatever. It's just made for a single person, right? You can definitely get it all done in the sloop, right? The only problem with the sloop is that one, defenses are ass, and two, you can get ran up on any moment or time and pretty much get bullied into submission. So there's not really much you can do if you get ran up on. If you go the sloop, you pretty much just have to pray to Lady Luck and hope to God that she doesn't allow anybody else to run up on you, because that's if they do, you're dead. At least 9 times out of 10, because I'm gonna get that one guy in the comment section that's like, oh, I fought an entire galleon by myself and sunk it and beat everybody because I'm that guy. More or less, you're gonna die if you're running sloop. So it's, you know, you can use it. I'm not saying don't use it because I use it still. It's just I have to be a bit more careful, and I wouldn't hold on to a lot of voyages and just go voyage back to back, because you may get ran up on and get robbed, and you'll do all that work for essentially nothing. So it is what it is. Now, in my personal opinion, the brigantine is the best balance of both of them, between the galleon and the sloop, of course. So I would always pretty much run brigantine, and again, the chances of you joining a crew that may have already done something are kind of high, so brigantine is just overall a better choice because one, it's pretty fast, two, it's got that kind of defensive capability where you can fight off a galleon if it does run up on you. Galleons are kind of rare in these parts, but it is what it is. Brigantine, people think twice, you know what I mean? Even though the brigantines may want to fight you, but the thing is, they have to think about it, because they have to be like, is what they have worth our time? You know what I mean? And because they might beat us, they might actually take us out. So is it going to be worth our time to go waste rather than just making money? Because at the end of the day, Sea of Thieves is about making money, not really anything else, depending on what you're doing. And then if you run the galleon, I mean, nobody's going to run up on a galleon unless, you know, it's another galleon, realistically. And those are pretty rare because nobody likes to play in 4-mans or whatever, unless they're friends and whatnot. But that's besides the point. Even a brigantine pretty much still loses to the galleon. It has better chances of still winning, but I'd say the galleon still outbeats the brigantine by a lot. So if you want a good balance of speed and usability, the brigantine is the best. But if you're talking in terms of defenses and you really don't want anybody to think about messing with you, run the galleon. Try and get a crew of people that'll work with you. But for the most part, brigantine, I would say, is probably the best balance of all of them that you can run. You always want to protect your coin. You never want to have it completely vulnerable, because you never know when somebody's going to want to take your shit. Believe me, it happens all the time. So just be careful. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I will talk to you guys in the next one. Peace.